Hello, welcome to this video. My name is Jonathan Curtis, presenting to you today as a television presenter because my microphone stand is somewhere and I don't know where it is, or I can't find it, or it's broken, and all my other microphone stands are set up with microphones. So I'm holding my vocal mic today. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this new drum that I've been sent. This is a Tarkus snare drum that was sent to me from the company in California. I'm somebody that does a lot of work on the snare drum, especially as a solo instrument. I'm really involved in rudimental playing, composition, pedagogy, and things like that. So this drum was sent to me with the hope that I would like it and talk about it and play it and show it off a little bit. It's a really nice drum, actually. I didn't know what I was going to receive when they told me they were sending it, but it's a 6.5 inch deep cast aluminium shell. Now, on my shelf over there, I've actually got a Pearl Philharmonic aluminium shell, 14 by 6.5, which is exactly the same as this. And the shells seem very, very similar, though not quite identical. So I won't go into the differences there, but this one has got a beautiful brushed chrome finish. It's 10 lugs. Tarkus used their own hardware on this, a very nice thin hoop on the top. I think it is mainly designed for drum kit playing, although I do think a high quality snare drum should stand up to solo playing as well. So I've had a play on this morning. It's got your standard throw off. It's got a standard drum kit snare strainer on, snare wires underneath. If I were going to use this as a dedicated snare drum, I think I would replace those with something a little bit more controlled. But as I've said, Tarkus, they've said it's not a dedicated solo drum. It is a drum kit snare drum, so I will place it on the kit later and have a play with it. But first impressions are very, very nice. Because it's aluminium, because it's a deep metal drum, it's going to be quite responsive. It's quite bright. It's quite loud. I've just got a small M1 snare weight on here, just a small, 4-inch piece of leather cloth that just helps to kill some of those overtones. If I take that off, you can hear those overtones coming through. That's perfectly normal. The Pearl Philharmonic has the overtones, and if you can see it on my shelf here, I've got a 15 by 8 Philharmonic field drum, which is a beautiful drum, but without any dampening. It has the most horrendous overtones. So overtones are a perfectly normal part of a snare drum. You've just got to decide how much you want to control them. Sometimes I use this pink cloth when I want to control them a little bit more for solo playing. But as you can hear, it's got a very nice, bright, crisp, responsive sound, and I especially like this for the rolls. Actually, if I place this microphone down and have a bit of a play on it, you will hear the responsiveness of the accents and the crispness of the strokes. But it does blend a little bit in the rolls, and I think it does lose a little bit of articulation on the very intricate passages. I think that's where I would want to dampen it quite a lot more and replace the snare cables with something a little bit more controlled if I were using this as a dedicated solo snare drum. But I'll have a little bit of a play. What you're hearing, the audio you'll hear, comes from this Audix i5 close microphone here, and then two overheads which are off camera. One of them is directly above me here, and one of them is at the back of the room there behind the camera. And the audio you hear, I will not mix, that you will just hear the raw sound coming through the microphones. So let's have a play. So it starts to give you an idea of what we're dealing with here. It's very responsive, and I was just really listening to the different sounds I could get here when I was playing towards the edge of the rim with the very piano segments. I don't think the head and the snare wires would quite work for really intricate orchestral work. Again, that's not necessarily a condemnation of the drum. I think that's to do with the way it's set up. If I replaced it with a more dedicated orchestral head, if I replaced the snare wires with dedicated orchestral wires, and if I dampened it a little bit more, I'm sure it would perform just fine. In its current guise, I think it is set up for a drum kit, which I will do next. I'm not going to do that in this video, but for the purposes of testing it on a longer scale. I had this set up on my kit yesterday. I only received it a few days ago. I set it up on the kit when I started teaching, and all of my students played on it throughout my lessons yesterday, and they all really, really enjoyed it. It worked really nicely on the drum kit. I'm using a Gretsch New Classic maple kit and the attached maple snare drum, 5.5 inch deep. And this was actually a really nice addition when I swapped it out. So over the coming days or coming weeks, I will release some footage playing it on the drum kit. But sitting here listening to other students playing the kit with this snare drum on it was a very, very pleasant experience. It did blend really nicely. It sounded great. It was certainly louder. It was brighter. It was more crisp than the wooden snare drum. But those are personal choices. They shouldn't be seen as better or worse. They're just the characteristics of the drum. So I hope this gives you a sort of rough overview of these. They're a small company. They specialize in aluminium snare drums. This is the 6.5 inch deep version. They do offer a 5.5 inch deep version as well. But I'm partial to deeper snares anyway, so this I think is a nice fit for me. So I'm going to continue working with it. I'm going to place it on the kit. I'll release some footage over the next few weeks or so with it on the drum kit. But I hope this gives you a nice insight into what is just at heart a really nice quality instrument. So I'm very grateful for Tarkus Drums for sending it to me. And apologies once again for my presenter style here. But I just wanted to share a little bit of footage and a bit of playing with this beautiful drum. So enjoy it, and thank you very much. See you next time.